Okay, guys, so today I'm going to talk about the biggest lies in the fitness industry. And this was a list I started coming up with yesterday where I'm like, I need to make this video because I see this stuff all the time and it drives me absolutely insane. I can't believe that this stuff, people say this stuff all the time, people buy into this stuff. These are just, I could honestly make a 2, 3 part series on the biggest lies of the fitness industry, but I figure, and I'll probably end up doing that. I'll probably make a 2 part at least. But today, we'll start out with my top five. So, my number one, this one, you guys are probably going to be able to guess what this could be. This one's pretty obvious, in my opinion. The number one lie in the fitness industry are the dosages as far as what people take. I didn't even go for the low hanging fruit as far as people being fake natties or not, because that's been overplayed. We all know that's a thing. We all know those. There's tons of people out there who are fake naturals, but I'm going with you know the dosage thing. The dosage thing is ridiculous. I know there's a lot more information out there, and I know there are people who take anabolic steroids in a smart manner where they're not taking crazy amounts and they are caring for their health. But those people are few and far between. So we see this all the time, but it's like, it's not, everyone always goes, I'm on 250 milligrams of testosterone. That's it. I'm not buying it. Like everybody always says, I'm on 250 milligrams of testosterone, or my cycle is 500 milligrams of testosterone. And then I run 50 milligrams of anadrol. And it's completely ridiculous. I'm sure there are people out there like, an honest example, John Hack says he runs a very modest cycle, and he has been questioned by a lot of people. Um, I'm inclined to believe him, but at the same time, I do not believe everyone out there is taking very small amounts. Everyone, no one wants to admit to taking trenbolone. No one wants to admit to taking grams of gear. But at the same time, it's like this is a very extreme thing where guys are going to, resort to anabolic steroids in the first place. If they are in that mindset where they're going to do that, I'm inclined to believe they're going to take higher amounts. I know that's what I did in the past. I took higher dosages at certain times. I didn't hold back. So when I hear this, about the very conservative dosing, and that's what everyone says. If you look at anyone and everyone who ever publicly states they take anabolic steroids, they will never say a high dosage. So whether it's a pro bodybuilder, whether it's a power lifter, whether it's anybody, a strongman, whatever, no one admits to taking higher dosages. And I am inclined to believe that more people are doing that than are not. So that one's just crazy to me when, you know, people propagate that theory that they're taking these very small dosages or only on TRT. This whole only on TRT thing is ridiculous as well. Um, Even at 125 milligrams a week, your blood levels for testosterone could be quite high, above 1500 plus. Um, if you did a standard total testosterone panel uh, that only goes up to 1500 total test and 50 free test, you'll max those out on 125 milligrams a week in a lot of cases, depending on how close you are after the shot. Let's say you test your levels 3, 4 days after you get your shot of 125 milligrams a week, half a cc. Very common TRT dose. Often TRT doses are higher, 200, 250 milligrams a week. You'll easily max out the testosterone level. You'd have to get an LC/MS level testosterone check to see what you're actually at. And you could very well be 2,500, 3,000, even on low doses, depending on how well your body metabolizes testosterone. So dosages, don't buy them. Don't think that TRT isn't helpful, because whereas a normal testosterone level, the average is 520 nanograms per deciliter. 125 milligrams a week can put you at 1,500. So that's just one thing. And I'm not even against TRT. TRT at reasonable dosages, I think, is completely legit. It's something I wouldn't rule out myself in the future. I wouldn't, that's a possibility. I might do that at some point. But the low dose thing, crazy. It's the minority who are doing low dosing, not the majority, like they make it seem. Number two, kind of tying into this, everyone, if you ask every bodybuilder, powerlifter out there, everyone in the fitness industry, they'll go, yes, I keep careful track of my health. So my number 2 lie is blood pressure. This one kills me too. Everyone out there says their blood pressure is 115, 120, 110 over 70. And it's not true. I'm like, not everyone out there is taking anabolic steroids, cycling, doing all this stuff, and having normal blood pressure. And let's not forget that just being heavier in general is going to increase your blood pressure tremendously. So for me, I'm 235 pounds right now. I'm not even on anything, not even on testosterone, but my blood pressure is a little higher than it would be if I was, say, 220 pounds, 215 pounds. Body weight in general is going to raise your blood pressure. So I don't care if it's an IPF lifter or if it's a natural or whatever. I don't care. You're still going to have higher blood pressure just from being heavier. Cardio is the number one thing that's going to bring down blood pressure. So this is where cardio comes in. Cardio does not come in to reduce your cholesterol levels. Cardio will bring down your blood pressure. That's the biggest draw of it. But at the same time, I can't think that all these guys running anabolic steroid cycles have normal blood pressure. It's absurd. It's absurd for guys to be on a cycle, which cycles literally steroids directly raise your blood pressure. Higher blood pressure makes you stronger. This is a fact. Higher blood pressure makes you stronger. These guys are running cycles. They're weighing 275 pounds and they're trying to all say that their blood pressure is normal. It's not true. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Again, the minority have normal blood pressure, 120, 70, 120, 80. It's so whatever these guys are, what everybody's saying as far as their cycles, their blood pressure, their health parameters, that's the small percentage, the maybe 20%. 80% are running way more than they say they're running. 80% have super elevated blood pressures of 180, 160. It's 160 over 100. This would be much more common. You're not going to run trenbolone. You're not going to run Deca, whatever your choice of anabolic steroid is, and your blood pressure is most likely not going to be normal. Even on these ARBs, which are much more prevalent now, the blood pressure medication, telmisartan, all this kind of stuff. I know people are taking more of that because there's the education out there through people like Derek, through people like Leo, like Vigorous Steve. All these guys have really helped make a healthier industry. But at the same time, a normal blood pressure at these elevated body weights on cycle is not the norm. Most have high blood pressure. So that's my number 2. Now, number 3, let's see what we got here. Oh my goodness. Okay, number 3, everyone says they're eating 350, 400 grams of protein a day. They're not. They're not. Do you know how much freaking clean food that would be? Oh my goodness. Everyone wants to say, I'm eating 400 grams of protein and I eat all clean food. No, you don't. You would be broke as a joke if you ate like that. Unless you have insane amounts of money to spend, you cannot eat that much clean food. You're not eating 400 grams of protein a day. Uh, the only way you can hack that is through protein powder. It's the only way. Through protein shakes, that's the only way you're going to get to 400 grams. Unless you're a pro bodybuilder where you are literally, your lifestyle and your sponsors are budgeting this crazy money for you to eat nothing but chicken. It's just 400 grams of protein in whole food form is an absurd amount. Just think about it. So this whole thing where everyone thinks I need to have crazy amounts of protein, it's just not true. I've done bodybuilding type diets. I've been coached through them where I was eating a lot of protein, maybe 250, 300 grams for a period of time. And it was brutal. It was unsustainable. It made me feel like trash. I was having to eat all the time. I felt bloated all day. It was awful. So when I hear this, even above that, the amount of clean food you'd have to do that is absurd. So not everyone, people may think they're getting 300 grams, but I think if they accurately measured it out, they would be at like 200. They'd be way lower than they think they are. So I think a lot of this is miscalculating how much they're actually taking and just exaggerating the numbers in general. Because that's another thing that's almost like a badge of honor where people are like, I do 350 grams of protein a day, guys, from all chicken. I'm like, no, you don't. Do you know how expensive eggs are nowadays? Do you know how expensive meat is? All this stuff. Like, there's no way you're doing that. Because let alone the cost of it and how sustainable it would be. You'd feel awful. You couldn't have a full-time normal job and be eating all day long like that. It's not possible. So that's another ridiculous statement. where everyone wants to talk about this massive food intake or protein intake, all from clean food. No, no. Okay, if you're getting that many calories in, you're eating some stuff you're not talking about. It's this misconception that everyone has a perfect diet too. It's ridiculous. Um, Number 4, you can make your calves bigger. Ridiculous. I mean, this one, there's a small hint of truth to it. You can temporarily make your calves bigger through an obscene amount of volume to train your calves. But the calves really have no functional purpose. Like, if you get your calves stronger, you're not going to run faster. You're not going to jump higher. You're not going to be stronger. The calves are like the most overrated muscle group out there. Okay. The calves, you walk around on them. Okay. Obviously, we know that. You walk around them. So there's the functional purpose. But directly increase training them or increasing the strength of them does nothing for anything. It doesn't help your running, it doesn't help your lifting, nothing. It doesn't matter. Calves are ridiculous. You're not going to grow them. Okay. Um, I've heard people allude to this thing. I haven't looked into it. Bradley Martin apparently trained calves for a year and he put like an inch on his calves. And then within 3 weeks of, stopping training calves, his calves shrunk back down. The reason you see big calves, guys, is because of one, genetics. Guys with big calves genetically have big calves. That's it. Number 2, in the bodybuilding circuits, synthol. That's it. It's genetics and synthol. That's it. So this whole idea, like we need to blast our calves and train them all the time, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. I'm sorry. Your calves are going to genetically be where they're going to be unless you're using synthol. They're not going to grow. They may grow temporarily, but as the moment you stop training them with an absurd frequency and volume, they're going to shrink. So I just think the whole calf training idea is overrated beyond belief. Now let's finish it up with number 5. That I'll probably be able to make a part 2 because these things just get propagated all the time. No one is training harder than anyone else. So that's my point. No one's training harder than anyone else. So number 5 would be that the best guys are training harder than you. They're not. I'm not training harder than you. Joe Schmo's not training harder than you. The best guys aren't training harder than you guys. No one's training harder than anyone else. We're all training hard. We're all training the same. It's not like okay, let's make an example here. Let's say you're training for a 100-mile run, the Bighorn 100-mile endurance run. The guy who's running 100 miles a week is probably going to be better and finish with a better time than the guy who's training 50 miles a week. He's putting more miles, then he's going to be better conditioned. It doesn't work like that with lifting. There's a point of diminishing returns. Doing crazy amounts of volume and killing yourself in the gym isn't going to help your performance or get you stronger. So this whole idea that someone's out training you is ridiculous. It doesn't work that way. I know a lot of people want to think it works that way. It doesn't. Okay. Training is patience, genetics, and consistency. That's it. You want to be the best at this? You want to be the best at lifting? You want to be the strongest guy? You want to be the best bodybuilder? Genetics, consistency, patience. 3 things. That's the formula. That's it. No one's training harder than anyone else. Okay. I hate to say that, but that's the facts. It's it's just not like that. So when I see this, you can train harder than them, or they're training harder than you, or I'll train them, it doesn't work like that, guys. It's not that serious. This is the facts. I hate to rain on everyone's parade, but you're training as hard as the guy across from you, and he's training the same as that guy, and everyone's training hard. Okay, everyone who's serious about these sports is training hard. You're not doing better than them. It's just genetics, your genetic levels, consistency, patience. And then obviously if you want to add an anabolic steroids and how much you're willing to push that envelope. That's it. So 5 things, guys. Those are my 5 things, my major pet peeves with the industry right now. I will shut it down there for the day. If you like the content, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. And I'll keep making videos like this because honestly, with the channel at this point, I'm just going to do what I feel is going to be useful information and what I want to talk about. And I'm done trying to cater to the algorithm or whatever. I'm done with all that. I'm not going to play up making clickbait videos or anything like that. I've tried it before. It's ridiculous. So this is what I'm going to do. If you like the content, we'll keep it going. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys.